Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello there.
Right there. Mm-hmm. And you're doing okay today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm okay. Instagram. Find us on the gram. You'll search Wilder Show Pod. And then you'll follow it and you'll share it with your friends. You know, build a whole little group.
As you do.
Or build a whole big group. Be good. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. Podcast@wildershow.com.
You know, it's something to break up the dog and cat videos. that you share with your friends. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Although we might add those.
Maybe that's just me.
You never know.
Oh, we could do that.
Yeah. Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And let's go. Big thing, the Air India disaster.
I know. Tragic.
242. They like to say souls on board. I don't know why they in the news they don't ever talk about souls until they're gone.
I don't think that's news speak. I think that's airline speak.
No, maybe it is.
Haven't we heard that before
souls
when they talk
board.
About how many souls on board? I mean, before not only in tragic cases, but you know when we've all boarded the flight to go wherever we're going.
There's so many souls on board.
I think so.
Huh. So does that would have to exclude then the animals because the animals don't have souls. 242 on board, and according to, and this is going to change probably, but according to one report, early on, the news was there were no survivors, and I can't imagine there would be survivors if you saw what happened. But they now say that there is one survivor. He was in seat 11A. You think 11A is going to be a popular seat from now on the 787 Dreamliner?
We're gonna have fights over 11A?
11A. That's where he was. Window seat.
I did figure out. I did a little research.
What did you figure out?
The reason that they used souls on board, first of all, that's been kind of phased out by the FAA now in most cases in favor of persons on board or POB.
That makes
sense. And the reason that it was souls on board to begin with was they didn't want to just say passengers because then you weren't talking about
the
crew.
crew and
So souls on board
means
and now
humans.
Persons on board refers to all of the people on the board as opposed to on board as opposed to just passengers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, the news group is behind because they still use souls on board. And I heard that early on. 242 souls on board. And that makes sense. It would include the pilots and the staff and all of that.
Yeah.
You ever been on a 787 Dreamliner?
I don't think so.
I have been once. It's Boeing, and Boeing's now under the gun again. You know, the whole thing with the 737 MAX, remember those problems and on. That trouble went, and Boeing sort of rebounded. And now we have the 787. I don't know whether it's going to be determined that it was a problem with the plane. I mean, who knows? It was India will be involved. They'll be the lead agency or agencies from India will lead the investigation because it happened in India. But it was headed toward the UK, right, headed toward London. And so London or the UK will be on board to participate in the investigation. The U.S. will be involved, the NTSB, because Boeing is a plane made in the United States. So you have at least those three countries involved in what happened. And I woke early, well, as we're taping this today, but early yesterday, as you're hearing this, early on Thursday morning, to that news. It was the first thing that I saw, and it had just happened.
Yeah.
One of the things, you know, I'm a nut about having the news on all the time, as we talked about before. I like to always have the news on. I mean, just not even the volume on, just to have it on. And so it's early in the morning. I get up at about 4:30, something like that. Maybe earlier than that. And there it is. And you can always tell when it has just happened, when the A-team on any major news, MSNBC, CNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CNN, if they don't have the A-team yet in place. Because, once the riots, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Once the protests became riots, the next day you have the anchors on the ground in L.A.
Right.
But not the first day.
No.
So I knew when I saw, no offense, but the B team or the C team, the overnight people, doing the story, I knew, okay, this just happened.
Right.
And in fact, I was watching it before I got an alert on my phone that said what had happened. So tragic. I mean, I've flown Air India. I've flown not from that airport, but I've flown Air India from India to India. I've flown the 787 Dreamliner. Have flown before with bad turbulence and different things. I mean, really, looking back on it, pretty, I would say close calls, but, I travel with Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill's a pilot. And I said, are we really going to fly into? No, I will not fly into that. That's a thunderhead. We're not going to fly. And those have 200-mile-an-hour winds going up and down inside that big thunderhead. There's no way they're going to fly right into that. Sure enough, we flew right into it. And it was massive, crazy turbulence. And we were in a different country.
I
And
don't like it.
the guy behind me was, I guess, praying. He was mumbling in some other language. I was mumbling in my own language. Everybody was sort of like, "Ooh, is this really the deal?" It's happened only a couple of times. Like that
a couple times is a lot.
It was. One was, I think, Thai Airlines, and that was that one. And then the other one was we hit we hit the vortex of a plane in front of us. So anytime a plane is flying, there is an air wake.
Sure.
The vortex of the plane follows the plane.
Yeah.
That's why when planes take off, they may take off from the same runway, but one plane will go to the end of the runway and then get in the air. And then the ones that follow it will get in the air earlier than that, and then earlier than that, and then earlier than that, because there is, for a period of time, think of it like a boat, there is a wake in the air. It's an air wake.
Yeah.
It's the vortex. And so we were on a flight flying into Narita, Tokyo, the Narita airport. And we were just flying along, approaching the descent, and the plane went hard, and I mean hard, like the hand of God pressed the plane down. It went hard down and to the left. And so much was it the case that there were like drink cans, like a Coke can, that like stayed where it was, but everything else moved down. So
like in the air?
In the air. And just dropped.
Oh, man.
And flight attendants left, their feet came off the aisle. And then after a couple of seconds, it corrected and went back up and to the right. And I looked over at Bill, because it was jarring. I looked over at Bill and I said, what was that? He said, we hit a vortex. We hit the air wake of another plane that is coming into land at Narita. He said, I guarantee you that's what it is. Because what happened was, we hit the vortex, and then the computer on the plane auto-corrected it. So it went down and to the left hard, and then went back up and to the right hard to correct it, to get it back on track. And about 2 minutes later, the pilot came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the problem. He said, we did hit the vortex of a plane that's in front of us, and it was like, son of a gun. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are really my only two, I would say close calls. I have no idea. But they what Bill said was, if this was a smaller plane, hitting that vortex would have flipped the plane. There's no doubt. No doubt. We were in a quite large plane.
So is it comforting to be on board with someone who knows a lot, or is it a little scarier to be on board with somebody who knows a lot?
I do maybe talked about this before. I gauge my worry Well, think about being in a hospital. If the nurse is worried, I get worried.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If the flight attendant is worried, I'm worried.
You're worried.
And so with Bill, I was like, is this a big deal? Mm-hmm. Of course, he is the guy that told me they would never fly into the Thunderhead. Yeah. So, no, he's not that comforting. But anyway, so we don't at all obviously want to make light of what had happened.
No.
It is tragic, and who knows what it's going to end up being. But, there is a scramble that takes place whenever something like this happens. Somebody, is it pilot error? Is it equipment? I mean, because you have potential massive lawsuits. And I mean, people do get into, pardon the phrase, but damage control at times like this.
Right.
And we'll just see what it was. There is some video out, I think, on the internet. I've not looked at it or looked for it, but talking about or showing, what might have been the problem and involves an explosion. So whether the explosion took place on the ground or in the air, I don't know. But we are sad for this. The Air India plane crash, jet to London, 242 souls on board, exploded in a huge smoke cloud, really just after takeoff, and this happened in Ahmedabad. The Ahmedabad airport.
Mm-hmm.
It's the western part of India. If you think of India, it's the western part.
Yeah.
Closer to us.
Can I add one more little thing to our discussion about why souls or
souls
persons?
on board. Yeah.
Apparently, that also, and again, the FAA has gotten away from using souls as the official language, and now more towards persons on board.
Right.
But the reason that they started using souls on board was that also distinguished between living people on board as opposed to the remains of deceased persons who might also be on the plane.
I actually thought of that. I was thinking military. Obviously, of military transport of bodies, they are not living souls, but also that in combination with distinguishing between, or not having to distinguish between the passengers and the pilots, co-pilot, crew, navigator, whatever they have.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, interesting. Well, we have to talk about the protests. I mean, the riots. It's so funny to watch how they talk about protests, and it's just a protest. Look, if it involves burning cars, people standing on rubble, it is not just a protest. Nobody I know would have a problem with protests. The protests, when they turn violent, are no longer protests. Of course, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has ordered the Texas National Guard to be a part of maintaining order. Look, this has got to be put down. It's got to be put down really with extreme prejudice. This is going to grow and grow and grow. You've got people that are, the question is it organized? So this is the kind of mayhem that goes on. People breaking into pharmacies, people stealing sneakers, Nike tennis shoes. I mean, these are not protests. These are thugs and criminals and rioters, and they have to be brought to heel. They have to be brought under control. So I'm told that there will be a big series of, quote, protests, that is to say riots, especially in California this weekend. This weekend is going to be a big weekend for rioting in California. And people's property and their very lives will be at risk because this has not been brought under control. And it hasn't, in part because you have all of the efforts by the federal government to assist being thwarted by people like the mayor of Los Angeles, the governor of California, and others who are simply saying, I hope the federal government will understand and stop these raids. These are people that have broken the law, and they're going to be arrested. And after they're arrested, perhaps they're going to be deported. That's just the way it is. There should be no sanctuary cities. We've talked about this. When you have a sanctuary city, don't be surprised if federal law enforcement says, let's go to the sanctuary cities. That's where all the illegal people are. So there's not really a lot more to say about that, except that it's happening and now happening in Dallas. They shut down roads in Dallas. It's happening in major cities across the country. It happened in Chicago in the last few days. Obviously, New York. Happened, obviously, all across California. But this weekend is going to be a weekend, and some are predicting that Donald Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act. And if he does that, it is going to be a very volatile weekend. And so we be careful as you go, wherever you go, and we'll hope for peace and the best. One thing real quick, it looks like the president's birthday parade that's supposed to take place tomorrow may be canceled over thunderstorms.
Oh, wow.
So we'll see. I mean,
okay.
I would say thunderstorms would be a good excuse to cancel it, even if it's not the reason. Uh-huh. I don't think it's a good time, probably, if there ever is a good time, to have a military parade. I don't think in the middle of all of these protests or riots that are going on, it's probably not a good time. But now they have all these missiles, they have all these tanks that are sitting in D.C. Waiting to go on parade. So I don't know exactly where it's going to end up or if it's going to happen tomorrow or not, but I hope that it doesn't. I hope that they'll, and then the president can get away from it by saying, you remember when the second inaugural address was brought indoors because it was horribly cold.
Yeah.
And it was true that it was horribly cold. However, it didn't bother me that it was brought indoors because I really didn't want to hear another 6 months or 4 years about the size of the crowd.
Oh.
You know? And a lot of people thought, okay, this is sort of a convenient way of getting out of having to compare the crowd size of Biden or Obama or anyone else to Donald Trump. And in the same way, maybe this is a way that the president can get out of having a little birthday military parade and save a little face, and then we don't have to do this thing that I believe we shouldn't be doing anyway.
I did hear again, though, that they reiterated, said nothing to do with his birthday. Right. Just so happens that it fell, that the date,
that anniversary of the Army.
Exactly. Have you seen that Chipotle is expanding in crazy numbers this year?
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I've been a couple of times. It's good. It's good food there, but
not a big fan though.
I think part of the portions are really large, and I don't hate to waste food.
Yeah,
and so for me, I'm embarrassed to get a kid's meal at places.
A lot of people get kids' meals at Chipotle.
I'm working toward that. I just not for money per se, but really just about food. I don't like to waste food anyway.
That's the amount of food you could actually eat.
I don't want to waste food. Chipotle is growing like crazy.
They're growing like crazy. You know, they're not new. They've been around for a while. I mean, I know like as far back as the teens. I know we've had one really close to where I live, but they're planning on opening more than 300 new locations this year. That's like they when they first said it's like one a day. It's nearly one a day.
Good grief.
And the thing that was so interesting to me about this is that key to making the growth happen, AI technology.
Wow.
Well, and this is it's been such a long time. You remember when we got jobs? Part-time jobs, or maybe even our first full-time jobs, depending on what you did, what age you filled out an application, filled it out, by hand, and then you turned it in, and then somebody called you back and had you come in for an interview. And at some point, all of that moved online, and you would apply online. But
I've never applied online for anything like that.
Never applied online? I'm trying to think if I ever have. I might not have really applied online for that either. I know my kids applied on for jobs,
but now everything
part-time
is
jobs
automated?
Online. Well, it's not that it's just when you have they have 130,000 employees. That's a lot of people that they need to employ. So AI is a big part of its hiring platform. So they use AI to find and vet
to weed people out or whatever.
Qualified people
Makes
to
sense.
keep the stores running.
That makes
and
sense.
I think too, I have a kid who works in retail, and I'd never even really thought of it like this, but he talks about how hard it is to keep a staff, keep the people that you need on staff. You've got to have a certain number of people on staff, but if you're employing people who are at a certain age in their life or a certain stage in their life, they might be more apt to
They might be as unreliable, maybe.
Yeah, and I hate to even character.
That's okay.
Maybe so.
Flighty.
Maybe so.
They're not coming in to take a job for the next 20 years, or maybe in the next 2 years. They come in, they want to do it, but they have other priorities.
Yeah.
And I got to have time off for this, and I got to do this in my mental health days, and it's like, how do you have enough people? How do you have enough people to fill? I mean, there is a need, an ongoing need at every business, and we can't all take our mental health days at the same time.
That's exactly right.
And how do you? But then the other thing is, if you have so many people on staff, are you giving enough hours to the people to make sure that they're making enough money that they don't want to go do something else?
Exactly. So since they introduced their AI hiring platform, hiring times have been reduced by 75%.
Really?
So it's just that much quicker to actually find people, get them into the store, and and if you're going to open 300 additional stores just in this country alone, and then they also have plans to expand into Mexico. This was another little piece of good news, I thought. Most of the Chipotles that I know of, they're maybe in like little strip centers, not necessarily freestanding, self-standing stores, so no drive-through. But they're going to start incorporating drive-throughs into their locations too. So I mean, that's huge. They did say, I thought this was kind of cute too. They're using AI in other facets of the business too. He said, don't expect to have a robot folding your burrito anytime soon, but there might be one making your guacamole.
Oh, so you have a big machine that makes it, and they dump all the things in. They automatically peel them and add the right amount of onions and whatnot.
Yep. All in an effort to not just make it a better experience for the customer, but to make it a better experience, work experience for the employees. If you have that, you keep employees longer, and that's all a part of it.
Something to watch for in the coming days. This will happen without U.S. support, but Israel has done that before. Israel has been, we know, those of us who read the end of the book, we know that Israel will ultimately be on its own, won't they? Or won't she be on her own and without even U.S. support? But it does appear that Israel is considering striking Iran in the coming days without U.S. support. And that is going to be big. If you're looking at, if you follow these kinds of things, and if you know what Gog and Magog is, and you know Russia and Iran and the role that they will play in the days, years, whatever the time frame is to come, you'll pay particular attention to this. Israel is considering taking the military action against Iran. This is according to 5 sources telling NBC News. That is pretty big.
That's a lot.
5 sources just yesterday, on Thursday, told NBC that in the coming days this will happen. And this comes just after CBS had reported multiple sources stating Israel told U.S. officials that it is, quote, fully ready to launch an operation into Iran.
Wow. So
Iran's military is working on drills that, I mean, it does appear that something is afoot, as Sherlock Holmes used to say to, was it Dr. Watson or Mr. Watson? Dr. Watson, I think.
Dr. Watson.
He was a doctor. Dr. Watson.
He was a physician.
Something is afoot. So we will monitor that in the days to come. And if you're a praying sort, that'd be one of the everything we've mentioned today, except for Chipotle, is a cause for concern and thought and prayer, of course. Oh, it is time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. on Father's Day weekend. Hey, happy Father's Day, all the fathers.
Happy Father's Day to you.
Oh, thank you.
Happy first Father's Day as a grandfather.
Isn't that kind of interesting? Or at least it is to me. My dad, it just strikes me, it makes me nervous to even say this. My dad's last Father's Day was, it turns out, my first Father's Day as a father.
That's right.
So that was 1992, right? Yes.
It was.
1992. Father's Day, 92.
Father's Day,
1993.
Right.
He died in 93. So 92, and I have a picture of my dad and his son, me, and my firstborn, Caroline.
Yep.
So it was 3 generations.
It's very nice.
And I've recently posted a picture of me, Pops, my son, Jamie, and his son, John West. So this is my first Father's Day as a grandfather. So I don't
really
know what
special.
I guess so. I mean, it is, right?
Sure.
To be a father, always. It's always special, though.
That's true.
And so, it's hope you have whatever you want for Father's Day. And I would say, not that you've asked, but let them honor you. And if you want to do something that you want to do it like Saturday, right? Do it tomorrow. Do what you want. Play golf tomorrow. And then, do what they want you to do on Sunday and let them honor you and all that. I think that's what I think anyway.
I have some trivia questions.
Okay.
A little quiz, a little Father's Day quiz that I can share with you. It's funny, actually, that one of the questions is, how do most dads want to spend Father's Day?
Well,
What do you think?
I can tell you. Is there an answer that they give?
Well, it's a percentage.
Tell me what it is. Yeah.
It's a percentage of dads in a YouGov poll.
Okay.
The percentage that want to.
All right. Well, here's what I would say. I think if they are being honest, and if it's like a blind survey, you might have a chance for honesty. I think many dads, and this is not a reflection on the people that call them dad.
Yeah.
Many dads do not want a lot of rigmarole. Don't mind the company and like to spend time and all that, but don't want to do lots and lots of things. For example, it would not be my choice to say on Father's Day, I can say this because this is not going to happen. Believe me. But if like, hey, we're going to get up early, we're going to go to church early on Sunday, then we're all going to go out to brunch after that, and then we're going to go to the Arboretum and spend the afternoon, looking at all the flowers. And okay, that's a big X for me.
For you, so not necessarily for all dads.
Not for all dads. No, I'm just saying for me, it's like that's a good Mother's Day thing.
Yeah.
If mothers would like to do that. But like, I don't want to go on a home tour or something like that.
Yeah.
That's just
but
not
you don't ever want to go. It's not just on Father's Day that you don't want to go on a home tour.
That's true.
That's probably not something you would choose for any day.
But I would give that as a gift to anyone who would want to do it. I mean, I would pay for it, and y'all have a great time. I want to relax on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I think the relaxing things for me would be maybe grilling or smoking some food, hanging out with your family, and watching a little golf or something that you like to take in. Like I can see, watching golf outside while you smoke and grill some food for everyone.
Yeah.
And that's very relaxing. At the end of the day, everyone enjoys the food, and I can make people happy with food. And so that's the kind of thing I would like.
That's nice. I mean, you do have a very specific way that you know yourself. You know, yeah. Well, 56% of the dads that took this YouGov poll said that they want to spend time with their kids and their grandkids. So
sure.
I guess the other, 44% just say scram.
Well, you know what, Napoleon, you can leave. I do believe still that time is the most important thing. Well, and if you spend time, that's what you really want to do. I don't want gifts. I don't want stuff. I don't want knickknacks. I don't want those kinds of things. I've got some Peter Millar shirts. I love Peter Millar shirts. It's a brand of golf shirt. I've gotten those before, and that's nice. I don't want to seem like I'm not grateful for things that I've
Oh,
gotten.
of course you are. Yeah.
But really, for me, the main thing is let's just spend time together. And if it can't be this weekend, if you're busy, you're doing something else, you're out of town, or we don't live in the same city, let's do it sometime soon. But I think for me, I've said I think in the last podcast, every day is a gift. Every day is a present. I mean, it's just
Don't you
enjoy being together.
Do you think our wants and needs for those kind of days change too as our kids get older? I think we used to talk about this all the time on the radio show when our kids were much smaller. And, being a dad of young kids, being a mom of young kids was a really different thing than being a mom or a dad of grown kids. I came at it from the perspective of a mother because I am one. When your kids are younger, especially if you are a mom who has the ability to be at home with her kids
stay-at-home
all the
mom
time,
or whatever.
stay-at-home mom.
Right.
If you say that on Mother's Day, you want to go to the spa and spend the day there and have peace and quiet, or spend the day with your friends, or spend the day, I don't have any problem with that at all. I really, you were talking about what is relaxing for you. I think that we should all get to spend that day however we want to spend that day.
Yeah, I agree.
And if it is not, I don't think anybody should be pressured into saying, now for me, as they have gotten old, well, really all the time, but especially as they have gotten older. And now, I have a couple of them in different cities.
Right.
So anytime that I get to have all three
all
of
together,
them in the same city, in the same place, I mean, that might as well be Mother's Day, because you certainly do value that time just spent together more and more the older they get, and the more the harder it is to find those times.
Golf, I like to play golf. And so playing golf, for example, on a Saturday before Father's Day, play golf on a Saturday, and then Sunday do the thing that you do with all of them. We talked a little bit about this last time. So I think that's the deal. And Father's Day is coming up, and it's good. And let's see, my 30, gosh, is this my 92 was my first, 92 I said was my first Father's Day.
33rd?
So 33rd, my 33rd Father's Day. Is that right, 33rd?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that. 33rd, my 33rd Father's Day.
I think that is right. I just had my 34th Mother's Day. It's always kind of hard for me to...
I've had more than half my life I've been a father.
Oh, yeah.
God, that's weird. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean,
You're there.
Been there for a little while. Yeah.
We had yours early.
So are you still up for the cleanse thing, the juice cleanse?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You said you wanted to do it, but you didn't know for sure. And I said, I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
Because I think that you're so competitive. That,
I'm not competitive. See, I think of it, I'm not competitive.
But you will. But if I'm doing it too, then you will not want to. You'll want to beat me at it somehow, and that's okay. That we both will.
I can't.
People will cheer each other on. I think.
Can't be. See, what I thought is, if one of us is going to have a horrible caffeine headache,
withdrawal,
then we should both have terrible caffeine.
Yeah, that's true. That's
headaches.
true. I'm okay with that.
Since we spend most of the days together working, then it'll probably hit us both at about the same time.
But I think you're a little more dependent. I think two things. I think you're more dependent on caffeine than I am, because I think it does more for you than it does to me. I can drink a Diet Coke or drink a fully leaded cup of coffee, and I can fall asleep 20 minutes later. It doesn't do a thing to me. It doesn't keep me awake. It doesn't get me awake, and it doesn't keep me awake. So when I drink a cup of coffee, it's almost like it's just like a meaningless ritual that people do in the morning.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't get, and I say it not as a brag. I wish I could get more out of it like people do. It's like, wow, I wasn't really, it took me until my
let me
first
ask
cup
you a
of coffee.
question.
It's like, really?
Do you ever start the day without coffee?
Sure. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, sure.
You do?
Yeah, sure. I don't, on non-working days, I don't have coffee in the morning.
Really?
Yeah. I don't have coffee or any caffeine in the morning.
Well, then maybe you will. Maybe you will be
see,
okay.
Part of it, we talked about this before. I'm naturally caffeinated. I mean, I have,
That's kind of true.
I wake up
You wake up at 60 miles an hour.
Well, it is like that. I mean, I've said before that most people, you wake up on a scale of 1 to 10. Most people wake up and they're like at a 4. And then about an hour and a half later, after 2 or 3 cups of coffee, they're at a 7. And then, they stay at about 7 most of the day, kind of dip down to about a 5, about 2 in the afternoon, maybe get one shot of espresso or something, and boom, they're back up to a 6.5. And that's their day. Here's my day. I wake up at an 8, and before I get out of the shower, I'm at a 10. And I'm at a 10 all day long until I drop at the end of the day. That's just, it's natural. And I don't say it as a brag. I don't like it, but all the things, aspirin doesn't do anything to me. Tylenol doesn't do anything for me. Advil doesn't do anything for me. Caffeine doesn't do anything to me.
I don't understand what you mean that those things don't do anything for you.
I don't.
You take them. You
every
take
now and then, but
Advil
I would take maybe 4, which is the most you're supposed to take at one time. You take 4 twice a day. That's it. But if it's really bad, I would take maybe 4. But it doesn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, if it isn't like knocking me on the head, putting me out, I don't feel like it's making a lick of difference. I'm glad for people that if you, oh gosh, I feel a headache. And
more sensitive people.
Well, yeah. What's that? So rude.
I'm not.
God, so rude.
You're the one who said I'm going to be competitive doing a juice cleanse.
Yes, that's a matter of fact.
I have done one before, but it was many years ago. It was probably 8 years ago.
Back to juice cleanse.
2 day. That's what we're going to do, right? Just 2 days.
I'll do it how many days you want. I
think you can do 2 or 3. The thing that I'm most worried about, I do eat more than you, I think.
I think that, but you also probably
I eat
burn
bigger
more
meals.
than I do.
I eat more during the day.
You do, yeah.
So I don't remember being particularly hungry last time I did it. I mean, you drink a lot of, like, I don't know, it's like 6
juices,
16-ounce bottles of juice a day, and I think you can have like you can have a half of an avocado, you can have some raw almonds, if you need.
See, I'm not big on almonds. I'm not big. I like almonds, but I'm not big on almonds. I don't really understand avocados. I don't know what people. I recently tried to eat some, and I thought it's good. I mean, it's good texture.
Yeah.
But I didn't really notice much of a taste.
They're really mild. There isn't a lot of taste.
Well, maybe then I could, if it get none of a taste, I guess I can just have an avocado. Then.
It's got a little bit of a taste, but it is very mild.
I would eat those, I guess. Is that all we can eat for those 2 days?
That's what I mean, we'll talk when we go pick up the juice.
Okay.
I'll talk to whoever I pick it up from and just make sure that we have, I'm sure there are, instructions and things that come with it. But you also have to eat like for a few days beforehand. You have to eat fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
You have to eat you can't just go crazy with burgers and fries and crazy stuff like that while you're preparing for it. You have to, and then afterwards you kind of have to ease back into eating too. Just be gentle on your stomach. Be gentle on your system for a few days.
And you can drink like any juice you want on the cleanse.
No.
It's like a special formulated juice.
Yeah, it's one for the first thing in the morning, one for mid-morning, then like one at lunchtime, and then 3 like for the rest of the day.
I may be rethinking my commitment. I'm kidding. No, I'll do it.
You'll
do it for
do
sure.
fine.
No,
You're going to do
great. I'm not worried about it at all.
I bet you won't be the cranky one.
Why do people do it?
It's to help kind of reset your diet.
Okay.
Help you with sugar cravings. Help you, just help you kind of reset and get to back into healthier habits.
Well, I look forward to it. I mean, so now if there may be some people that are listening that have done this before.
Yeah.
And I have never done it before.
Yes.
So I would take all input.
All hints and tips.
And we're going to begin this next week.
We are.
Okay. So if you have any thoughts about, what do you call it? A juice cleanse?
A juice cleanse.
If you have a juice cleanse thoughts.
And I know where.
Let me give the podcast. Just podcast at wildershow.com. Podcast at wildershow.com. And I'll take your encouragement and your cheering on, and Lauren too.
We have a plan for where we're going to purchase this. But if you have a recommendation, for a place, let us know that too, because nothing has been ordered yet, and we'd love to know what you found, or if you've had a good experience. Yeah,
I think I'm ready. I think it's fine.
Oh yeah, you'll do great.
Brian Wilson is dead.
He is.
Was that sort of a weird thing to sort of slap in the face? I don't know what we think. I mean,
he was 82
degrees. He was 82 years old. But it just, every now and then, stuff just surprises you. And you think, and of course, he was just the Pet Sounds and all the stuff, and great movie that I know you've seen, I've seen.
Love and Mercy.
Love and Mercy, great movie about his life. Mm-hmm. And that most real music people will tell you that Pet Sounds changed music.
Yeah.
That album, Pet Sounds, changed everything. And it was a great album, and God Only Knows is still one of my favorite songs.
Great song.
From the Beach Boys. So, yeah, he died of, what did he die of? Yeah, I don't think they have released what his cause of death was.
No.
But I know he did suffer from dementia. And according to his wife, or after his wife, Melinda died in 2024. He was unable, according to reports, to care for himself, and he was, I think, put in a conservatorship by his family.
That sounds right.
So, anyway, dementia probably played a role, and of course, he had a tragic. I say tragic. I mean, a wonderful life in some sense. A very troubled life, right? With mental
for sure
challenges, and so. Co-founder of the Beach Boys, dead at 82. His music, of course, his influence and all that goes on.
Okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a South Florida man named Tyrone Alexander?
Tyrone Alexander?
Tyrone Alexander.
No.
So he was convicted of a wire fraud.
What?
And entering a secure airport area under false pretenses.
Okay.
He posed as a flight attendant to secure free flights.
What?
He took 34 flights without paying by using airlines' employee booking systems that are designed for pilots and flight attendants. Mm-hmm. So he made false claims. He said that he worked for 7 different airlines, created as many as 30 fake badge numbers and employment histories. This goes all the way back to 2018. Started in 2018, continued until last year when he was arrested in California, found guilty by a federal jury just last week. But the thing is, the U.S. District Attorney in Southern Florida said that his actions exploited weak verification checks within the airline's supposedly secure process. So this has prompted the TSA to replace its known crew member program with the crew member access point system. So that this is incorporating biometric scans and enhanced verification to prevent. I mean, think about it. If he could say that he's an airline employee, certainly nefarious, but all he wanted was free flights. Was it really that hard, I wonder, to do that?
No.
It's kind of scary.
Way to go, Tyrone.
I know.
All the real employees are going crazy now, saying it's all because of Tyrone.
Although, listen, Tyrone might have ultimately done us all a favor.
That's true.
If he pointed out this weakness in the system.
That's true.
And things will now change because he just wanted to fly free to see his relatives.
Well, send him some gift cards there in jail to Tyrone.
Tell him thank you.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Put some money in his commissary, kitty. Okay, that is Scattershoot for this Wilder Show podcast. Instagram, you'll find us on Instagram. Just search Wilder Show Pod, and you'll find us, and you'll follow us, and you'll share, and we appreciate that. If you want to send us an email or your tips on juice cleansing, happy to hear that, and maybe not so happy to hear that, but I will read that if you'll send it to podcast@wildershow.com, podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And so I guess on the next podcast, perhaps we'll be extra cranky or something because it will have begun by then.
I don't know if it'll be the next one or the next one.
Okay, good. More time for burgers until we.
Here.
That's it. And thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
Da-da-da-da.